Here comes the nasty girl.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nasty Girl RPG Podcast for another installment of Choose Your Own Adventure. This is Ocean's D20, Part 1.
Hey, this is Jake. I'm going to be your dungeon master tonight, and thanks for joining us for what is this game called again?
Choose your own
adventure.
Adventure, just like the old days.
Well done, Jake. Hey, everybody, I'm Matt. I'm going to be playing Thulgard, the human cleric of the Warden Division.
Hey, guys, this is Dan. I will be playing Ashwin Caldoro, and I will be a human, and I have no idea what my accent's going to sound like, so I'll surprise you guys.
Hey, guys, I'm John. I'll be playing Bartos, the hunter, the Dwarven hunter.
You're going to be so hoarse by the end of this, this game.
I was last time.
Hey guys, it's Ryan. I'm going to be playing Luca Dare, the gnome rogue.
I feel like Luca Dare is also like an Italian game show host. It sounds so familiar.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as we do with most of these choose your own adventures, we're going to start off at the Tradicium. And we're going to start off with Ashwin. Dan?
Yes.
You are in the Tower of the Arcanum. You are in the office of Maxine Nakara.
Am I in trouble?
Of the Arcanum. You are not in trouble. She has asked you there because she has a job for you and some others. However, it seems that she asked you to get there a little bit early, maybe because you're kind of a curiosity, and you get the impression she wanted to meet you.
Sure. Can I get her name one more time?
Maxine Nakara. She is a older woman, probably in her 50s or 60s, or at least she appears that way. Any of you who know a lot about the Arcanum or the Tradicium in general will know that she is actually about, how long ago was the Awakening?
200 years, 250-ish.
She's about 250 years old.
Wow.
She was born shortly after the Awakening, and she is a tiefling.
That's old for a tiefling, right?
That's dope. Yes. She just kind of looks like an old grandma. She's
with
got
horns.
Yes. She has kind of like long white hair that she usually keeps in a bun. And that bun, for the most part, covers her horns, but you can see them kind of sticking out the sides. And when she talks, you do notice that her teeth come to points as well. You have heard that when she was younger, she was quite beautiful, and that her lineage is related to the succubus.
Mm-hmm.
Hot.
But now she is a handsome older woman.
Like a Demi Moore kind of thing going on? If that's your thing.
I can't picture Demi Moore right now.
What? Bruce Willis's ex-wife?
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess, depending on our audience, that might be a little old for you guys.
Who's Demi Moore?
So, her office is a large circular room with windows on each side overlooking the kind of grounds of the Tradicium. There's bookshelves between each window. There's a small table set up that you're sitting at with some food on it. And then on the other side of the room is her desk. She's writing something, sitting at her desk writing something, and she gets up and smiles and says, "Thank you for amusing me. We have not had the pleasure of meeting. You are Ashwin?"
Yes, Miss Nakara, I am Ashwin, Ashwin Caldoro.
She comes over and sits next to you. She's wearing a kind of gown, like, nothing fancy, but a dress. What do you look like?
Great question. He's Ashwin's pretty tall. He's just over 6 feet. He's thin to the point where he actually looks kind of not frail per se, but definitely not a very intimidating physical presence. His skin is rather pale, and he has darker green eyes with kind of short but kind of tousled black hair, and he usually wears something in between kind of studded leather and traveling clothes. So it looks like he's kind of ready for travel, but also kind of in his everyday gear as well, his garb. And he doesn't have many possessions that he carries about him. He's probably been staying in the Tradicium for a few months now. So he's relatively new to the university or whatever it is.
Okay. She pours herself a glass of wine, and then she says, Would you like a glass?
Please, yes.
There are very few vineyards this far north. The climate just is not right for it. But this particular vintage comes from the Imereti lands to the east.
I have heard of this place. I imagine there is much trade here in Thom, though, yes?
There is. Now tell me, Ashwin, how long have you lived on the surface?
It hasn't been long. I've only traveled here recently, and it's been 2 months here and another month, maybe 2 to get here. So that is the sum total of my time here in this bright world.
My ancestors lived in your homeworld.
Ashwin kind of thinks on this. I see. And
Have you met others like me?
a great many, yes. They came through the Shimmering Web very often. All things come through the Shimmering Web at one point or another.
I imagine that you've seen great and terrible things there.
Ashwin's kind of got the glass, and he's kind of circling the wine in the glass, and you can clearly see that he's sort of daydreaming about it, and almost wistfully. And he says, "It is an amazing place. Fearsome, yes, but amazing."
I understand that you're quite a deal maker, quite accustomed to trading with all manner of outsiders.
He's nodding his head as she's talking, and he says, "I am comfortable bargaining, whether great or small. It's how I was raised."
She smiles, like she genuinely seems amused, and she says, "May I ask how old you are?"
"I am 19.
She says, "The others should be here."
Good.
She gets up and goes to the door.
Ashwin kind of peruses her bookshelves, looking over the things.
She opens the door to her office, and the three of you have arrived on time, I assume, and are waiting in this sort of little waiting room to be seen. You were just told to stay in here. So this woman, Nakara, who maybe you've seen around or at least heard about, I don't think any of you are part of the Arcanum.
No.
Matt, are you? You're a cleric?
No, I'm a warden.
You're a warden? All right. So the three of you kind of file in. Matt, you kind of walk in first. You want to describe your character? Tell us what he's all about.
A boot.
Yeah, Fulgard is human. He's about 6'1", dreadlocks, darker hair. He's wearing a tunic that's a patchwork of clothing. He's got an amulet of the symbol of the Order of Valen over his chest, and also on his shield, and he's carrying a spear.
Okay. You walk into this office and you see this young human man looking at the bookshelf. She gestures towards the table where there's some food and some wine, and you walk in, and then after you comes Bartos.
Yep. Bartos is a stone dwarf. He has stark white hair and white braided beard. His entire body is covered in bright blue dwarven runic tattoos. Covers like gray skin. Looks like he's ready for adventure. Has 2 obsidian axes on his side. He comes in kind of storming in, ready to get something done. He was waiting for 30 minutes in the hall, and good. Yes, madame, you called.
Please come in. Have a drink if you'd like.
Oh yes.
Make yourself comfortable.
He heads over immediately to the little bar.
Lastly, we have Luca.
Luca follows Bartos into the room to the point that he's not really visible until Bartos makes his way over to the food and drink area. And then he kind of is almost caught off guard that he's there. His most distinguishing feature is that he wears a balaclava at all times. So he's all you can really see of his face is his bright green eyes.
Definitely a skeleton.
Yeah. No, it's totally
undead.
Not strange at all.
Dan, you've been out weirded.
I know. Definitely.
Gnome skeleton.
He generally he wears fairly bright colors. He's a forest gnome. He's about average height. So he's like little over 3 feet tall. Just a tiny little dude. Kind of mostly in like greens, yellows, and just
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing tiny little weird dude stuff.
Yeah. Maxine closes the door behind her, and she walks over to the table, picks up the wine that she clearly had already started drinking, and she says, I'm not sure if all of you know each other, but you will have a chance to be acquainted. I have an important mission, a mission that, although it may seem trivial, I need to assure you that the fate of Nestia may be in the balance. There is something being unleashed within Nestia that will soon, if left unchecked, destabilize and destroy the entire country.
That's quite the thing.
It is. And I'm leading with this statement because I want you to all understand how important this is.
Ashwin kind of stands up a little straighter and he says, that is the kingdom to the northeast of here, yes?
That is right.
And I have heard that it is a strong kingdom.
The strongest?
And yet it suffers from this weakness?
Yes. And, well, I suppose it is best if I just show you. She walks over to her desk and opens a drawer, takes out a coin purse and a metal rod about the size of a pencil. I would say, Dan, you probably have seen these before. Ashwin's seen these before. The rest of you, I don't know. Maybe Full Guard. Oh, actually, John, you definitely know what this is.
Okay.
This is Dwarven Metal. In this world, this metal has a unique property of essentially neutralizing magic. She walks over to the small table with the food on it, and she dumps the coin purse on the table, and it's a purse full of gold coins. She looks at you, Ryan. Luca. She says, look at them. All of you, inspect those coins. I assure you that they are real. They are minted in Nestia. They are the proper weight. They are pure gold.
Ashwin picks one up and kind of softly bites it.
That one there has a double imprint. It's minted wrong.
Fulgard wants to cast Detect Good and Evil over the coins.
Detect good and evil. Okay. Yeah, they don't seem to be good or evil. I'm not sure if that's how that spell works, but
The general gist of it.
they are completely neutral. They are coins. She takes the rod and she touches it to one of the coins. and it changes color. And she picks it up and she crushes it in her hand. It looks like it's made out of clay. It's just not an illusion. True transformation.
Transmutation, yes?
Correct. Transmutation. It isn't as rare as you'd think. There are many here in the Tradicium that would be able to turn a clay coin into gold. The more challenging part would be to make it stay that way.
How old are those coins?
Our scholars think that they're 2 weeks old, but the transformation is already beginning to lose its power on its own. And within a month or so, these coins will return back to what they were. I'm not sure if you're understanding the problem. We don't know how many of these have been unleashed into Nestia.
The entire economy would collapse.
Ashwin's nodding his head, looking down at you.
Imagine you're a merchant from Frent or from the south, and suddenly a significant portion of your Nestian coin becomes useless.
Could even cause a war.
It could.
Are you saying that these came from the mint itself and not actual, just counterfeiters trying to pass off fake coin?
These coins came to us purely by chance, by luck. Another one of our groups was on a mission when they entered a place where magic wouldn't work. When they left that place, they noticed that most of the coins that they were given from here as part of their mission had turned into clay.
It kind of, Ashwin's thinking, and he kind of takes a few steps side to side, and he says, it has two sides. Yes, it would suggest that either someone is deliberately trying to destabilize Nestia to foreign powers, or on the other side, that someone within Nestia wants to accumulate particular buying power.
Let's hope that that is all it is. We've discovered this 3 days ago. That's when the team came back with those coins and told us immediately. Since then, we have sent out seneschers. Is that what they're called?
Seneschers are the travelers, and quotaries are the actual groups that are put together to send out.
She says we've sent seneschers to many of the neighboring, many towns on the borders of Nestia. We've checked as much coinage as we can, and while it is not rampant, we were able to find coins.
That seems to suggest it's been going on for a while.
It would seem that way. And I believe that that is why the magic, the older the coins are, the sooner they will fail. But the fact is they will fail. And the effect it could have, well, really depends on how much is out there.
The greatest potential, the greatest opportunity they have would be to mint it within Nestia itself, because then it would have the furthest reaching strength. Otherwise, the further you go from Nestia to make these coins, the less likely they are to make it to Nestia itself.
That's very astute, and it is the conclusion that we came to as well. We've been looking. Don't worry, I'm not planning on just sending you out to Nestia to find where these coins are coming from.
Thank God.
That would be a good campaign, but not a one shot. I actually, when I was thinking about this game, I'm like, fuck, this would be a good campaign, actually.
There's a one shot I keep like right on the edge of, and I'm like, no, I want to run it as a campaign.
We have, through trial and error, narrowed it down a bit. We believe that most of this coin is going through a place in Zadina, a place called the Celestial Garden. Have any of you ever been to Zadina?
Ashwin hasn't.
Bartos, probably, maybe in his former life, but not for a long time.
I don't think so.
No, but I hear it's lovely.
Okay. She says the Celestial Garden is a entertainment venue, one could say. It's popular with the nobles. One can acquire all sorts of tastes there, but it's mostly known for gambling. A lot of coin comes in and out. Now, we are not sure if it's someone working within the garden or if it's patrons using it as a way to filter their coin, but we know that it isn't somehow involved, and so that is where you're going.
It would be nice to gamble with an unlimited budget.
Well, your budget will be generous, but as I said, we're not sure if it is the establishment itself, employees of the establishment, or patrons. And so, secrecy is of the utmost importance. And that is why you will be going with a false mission. We've already informed the Celestial Garden that you will be arriving tomorrow, and we've told them that you're looking for this man. She takes a stack of paper off of her desk and brings a sketch of this elven man and puts it down on the table. His name is Alistair Fields, and he is a thief. He has stolen artifacts from the Tradisium. There's a whole list of his crimes and his last known whereabouts in Zadina, more notably in the Celestial Garden itself. We believe he is trying to meet a fence in order to sell these goods. This, of course, is all fabricated. Alistair doesn't even exist. But it's the reason you'll be giving for being there.
My lady, will we have access to any... He nods to the rod she has. Dwarven Metal.
I assume you, more than any, would know the value of this thing.
Yes.
And how important it is. However, I can understand the need to be able to identify these coins. She kind of thinks about it for a minute. She hands you the rod.
He like kind of takes it reverently, nods.
She says, that is one of my most prized possessions. She walks over to her table and she writes something down.
Yep.
Ashwin just watches the transaction.
She says, well, I'm going to give the four of you some time to think about what exactly is going on. You leave first thing in the morning. Before nightfall, please get a list of of goods that you wish to requisition. I'll make sure that you have a generous amount of coin. But if there's anything else that you think you might need, as I've said, I cannot overstate the importance of this. Although it may simply seem like counterfeit coin, if left unchecked, this could be very bad for Nestia. And Nestia is a stabilizing force in this entire region.
We'll do our best.
Please take the meeting room below us. It's already been reserved for the four of you. If you need food or drink, I'll have my assistant bring it in. Discuss what you would like to do as your next steps, and take these files, even though, as I said, they're all false. It's important that you're familiar with this story.
Ashwin says, should we? And then she hears it, but no one else does. And then he starts speaking aloud. He says, should we find the person or persons or organization responsible for such a thing? What would you have us do?
Unfortunately, because you're going to be so far away from the Tradisium, you're going to have to make a call on your own.
Ashwin's nodding. Very good.
If this organization is beyond your power to stop, then simply return here and make us aware of it. But it's important that you find solid proof. You need to know for certain who is doing this.
Very well.
And in this particular case, the more information we can gather, the better. If we can find out exactly how much coin they have put into Nestia, that will be very helpful. If we can find out where that coin has gone, that could save lives, or at
And
least fortunes.
perhaps the most important would be why.
Of course.
Very good. I look forward to solving this riddle for you.
Not much for solving riddles, but you look like you could use someone to stand in front of you in case things get rough.
Violence is a last resort, I will admit, but yes, it'll be reassuring to have you by my side. Or hip, yes?
Yes.
As she sees you all to the door, she actually says to you, John,
Yeah.
she says, "Do not underestimate yourself, Bartos. I requested you for this specifically. I've known many of your kind, and I know that you have a knack for such things and a persistence that is not to be underestimated."
We'll get to the bottom of this one way or another. He kind of pats his hand axe.
All right, you guys make your way downstairs to it's basically like a study hall, you
Yeah.
know, just
Or detention.
there's a bunch of large tables that are all empty. The room's been kind of reserved for you, just so you have some privacy. It's the same sort of shape and footprint as her office above you. And sure enough, there is a sort of scribe outside the door who says that he has been told to get you guys anything you need. And he says that once you have a list of what you need for your journey, to give it to him, and he'll bring it to the proper people.
Yep.
Could we get a camel?
All right. So you guys make your way into the room and go.
Hey Bartos, what do you think she meant when she said "you're kind"? You think she was like generalizing or stereotyping? You think she
There's
just?
a little bit of stereotyping.
I mean, that's kind of fucked up from management. I mean, you really shouldn't.
I'm going to make
just saying,
a report to HR.
Bartos, yes?
Yes. Ashwin, is it?
It is. It is a pleasure to meet you, sir. And that piece of dwarven steel, may I see it?
He eyes you.
Ashwin seems on the face of it eager, or earnest, I should say, and has a pretty open face.
Just so you know, if anything happens to this, I will haunt you for the rest of your days. He takes it out and puts on the desk.
He kind of picks it up end to end.
You pick it up.
Yep.
You die.
Okay, cool. Because I'm an intelligent sword.
You're a magic sword.
Oh, yeah.
But then if I drop it, do I come back?
You can't drop it. You're dead.
All right. It's like a Chinese finger trap. Like you just stuck holding it. And he picks it up and kind of looks at it end for end. Is it just steel?
Very nondescript. Yeah.
Yep. But it's black, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Black metal, pencil-sized piece of metal.
Most of that was extracted before even we were cursed many thousands of years ago. Not much left in the mountains.
I have heard the secret to its creation is still unknown or forgotten.
More than likely forgotten. When we were stone, our minds didn't work the same as they were when we were flesh. Time was meaningless. You start to lose yourself.
I believe this. I am young, but I believe this. I met a great many elders, I should say. They all talk of this kind of detachment that comes with age. But I am curious. Have you ever heard a rumor that someone could make it?
There are always rumors, young one.
It was a popular one where I was, because if you could, a fortune awaits you.
Indeed.
Where was that Asswind?
Asswind?
That's what you said your name was, right? Asswind?
It's Ashwin.
Asswind, yeah.
Ashwin.
I think he has a list.
You may call me Caldoro.
Ashwing?
Sure. Whatever.
Caldoro works fine.
Where you from there, Caldoro?
You hear in your head, Matt, the shimmering web.
Okay, you need to ask permission before you do that.
Ashwin kind of smirks at you. Fair enough.
The metal, Ashwin. He has his hand out.
Yes, of course. And he hands it back over to you.
Takes it and puts it in his pouch.
Have any of you been to Zadina?
No, I've heard of it. Well, I've heard of this by reputation. This celestial garden, but not much of a surprise. They don't let dwarves like me in.
Well, they will have to now.
Or is it just dwarves like you, or is it old dwarves they don't let in?
Well, any dwarf really. They wouldn't let you in either, little one.
Well, if they saw me.
You are a shadow, that's for sure.
Are there any requisite items that anyone needs for the trip?
Rations. Rope. Lots of rope. Last time we needed a lot of rope. I hope that doesn't happen again.
You have been on a number of quests for the Tradicium.
Well, just one so far. And boy, was it a doozy.
So we are all new here, yes?
Well,
He kind of looks around.
I've done few other things as well, but yeah.
Oh, I heard, Thorgod, didn't you get shrunk down?
I did. I also, not to brag or anything, but I basically helped save everyone's life at that time too. I think if we make a list of what we need, I think we should all, talk about what our strengths and weaknesses are. My weaknesses are I'm not really good at, stabby stuff. Try to make sure none of you die. Well, you might die, but, and I can tell you're obviously the one I'm probably going to have to keep alive the most. There, Bartos and Luca. Well, if I can find you, maybe I could help you. Ashwin over here, I'm not really sure what his strength is besides being fucking pain in the ass, but...
I am sure we will get along splendidly.
Yeah. Strengths. Weaknesses. What are they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what do you do, Ashwin?
My job for a number of years has been a trader.
Oh, so you're in the... You're with the requisitionists, and...
I have not found a particular calling here yet, but I believe it may be this organization you call requisitionists, or it could be with these inquisitors as well.
Well, trader will be... If you're a smooth talker, you'll be helpful in this situation, that's for sure.
The rest of you, what allegiances do you have?
Oh, I'm a hunter.
I see.
I'm in requisitions.
Ah, of course, that makes sense. And he turns to you, Matt. A warden. Keeping us all alive, yes?
Some of you, yeah.
Good. Well,
besides rope, we'll need rations, obviously, for the trip.
yes, of course.
We should also probably bring a cart with some horses, some manacles, perhaps, things. If we're going to be pretending to catch this Alistair Fields, then we should probably go with equipment to take a prisoner back.
Good, yes. Perhaps we will requisition a cart once we are there. I do not believe the Senishers like to carry such things on longer journeys. But I could be wrong.
You could, you don't need a full cart because, you wouldn't be bringing him back that way anyway. Mm-hmm. But you could definitely
manacles.
Getting like manacles and stuff like that is definitely a good idea.
Very good. I will draw up a list, and I will present it to the sergeant at arms or whoever runs these things here, and we should be ready to go.
What is our plan besides being the law, I guess?
A plan.
How do we enter a casino, for lack of a better term?
Ashwin kind of smiles and he says, well, if we are coming under the pretense of the Tradicium, then yes, we will have certain access, I would imagine. But
I wouldn't be so sure. I would doubt that they want the Tradicium poking around their little operation.
Especially
Maybe
if
that
they
we
are
don't-
the ones doing the counterfeiting.
Exactly.
this is true.
Even if they aren't, whoever is doing it, here's the Tradicium has showed up to lock away some Alistair. Well, they'll be on high alert.
Well, we must imagine that the money is coming in great quantities, yes? So either there is what we would call a high roller bringing in much of the gold that is being pushed into the market as counterfeit, or that the Celestial Garden itself is pulling money from a bank or some other organization, a kingdom, that would be a backer for the money it would need. And that would be the other source. So really we have two possible options, and we must investigate both. Yes?
That sounds reasonable to me.
Good. I am trying to imagine the scale of it. And if any of you have any practice with the magics, to make something last as long as it does requires an incredible amount of power. And it's not just illusion. He kind of waves his hand and, 3 or 4 gold pieces appear on the table.
Yeah.
It is real, tangible things. And he kind of palms a gold coin in his hand and rings it on the actual door.
The other option is that this person has this power, thinking they can make gold coins out of clay, and maybe not even understanding that they go away.
You
Well,
would think some... Go ahead.
I think if somebody has the ability to do this, then they're gonna know the consequences, or at least time frame of their spell. I'm not, exactly a spellcaster, but the little bits that I do have, I do know that there are time limits to most.
But then there are fools who pick up these magic items and these artifacts and wield them without thinking or knowing exactly what they're getting into. To some extent, that happened with the original holders. The 13.
Yes, I have heard of that.
Counterfeiters would meet a swift death down in the Shimmering Web. That is without a doubt. And so these individuals, if not for their power in making it last so long, are perhaps also well guarded, well insulated, well hidden even. So, it will be a matter of investigation for sure, but those are the things we should be aware of. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to put together this list and make sure we are ready for the morning.
Before you go, we do have that rod. Is that the only way we have to tell the difference? I mean, do we have a couple of the coins that Maxine Nakara gave us?
Yep.
I mean, I can detect magic, and
I was going to ask that.
I can't
Go
see.
ahead, Matt.
They do seem to have a glow to them. I can see that they have been transmuted. I can't really get a feel for what it was, but they do glow.
Well, that is a boon then.
And it is a wonder they have not been discovered earlier. is like a magic low on coins, kind of like cocaine on dollar bills. Like there's always a little on some. There's always a little bit on some.
I mean, I guess we haven't really talked about how common. We've said it's kind of high fantasy now, but like, yeah, how many people are running around casting detect magic?
I gave an analogy. I can't remember which game it was.
Like one, like
a pro athlete,
thing, right? Yeah.
And I think, I mean, if that's the case, it would be not only would most of the town, even a city, not have tremendous access to it, but even having access to that person.
So with that in mind, it's probably safe to assume that the upper crust of most places know that this is a thing that's happening.
Sure.
They're not going around sharing it with, Joe the Potter.
Right.
But yeah, it's probably out there, like the knowledge that this is a thing.
Or something's happening at least.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Who knows what magic is on there or whatever.
Yeah, because they could maybe detect it, but not know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Because to dispel it is another matter too.
And detect magic just tells you like the school basically.
Right. Yeah.
Like the Arcanum like had to use like some serious identify nonsense to figure out like that this is something that has been on there for maybe a month and is going to fade away in about another month. You know, so. But yeah, I mean, like, the Kingdom of Nestia is probably also aware of it.
Okay.
Right.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make up a little list here.
Okay. We're going to screen wipe. We're going to skip all that travel nonsense, all that magic travel nonsense.
Just imagine that I tried to steal the magic coin and failed, because that's usually what happens.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Where you guys have walked into what's essentially the lobby of the Celestial Garden. It's a large half-circle room with these huge marble pillars around the outer walls, and a long desk that runs right down the center of the room. There's people kind of checking in and checking out. You see a lot of security, a lot of people in these sort of blue and black, like leather and metal armor. They're all in the same sort of uniform, so to speak. And mostly they're just kind of standing around, not doing anything. But occasionally they check people's luggage and stuff as they enter the building. Dan, do you have something?
I just wanted,
Question?
if possible. In part of the rec was, the things that we're going to gather up and bring. I would like to pull up in an Aston Martin in a tux. Got a very James Bond vibe desire going on. So
4 fantasy tuxedos.
Perfect.
Okay.
Love it. Continue.
So you all walk in. Behind that long table that runs the whole room is actually like the back wall of the room. It's it's a half circle, so it's this curved wall behind all of you, and there's water like trickling down the wall. And as you walk into the building, a man walks right up to you as if expecting you, followed by 4 guards. And as he approaches, you realize that he is in fact a dark elf. They're pretty uncommon around here. For those of you who don't know, dark elves are fairly new in this world. They came about from a curse that affected essentially the evil elves who tried to take over the world.
No big whoop.
So they're not, many of them do live underground, but many of them don't. And that curse sort of is hereditary. So anyone who is kind of more than 250 years old was probably essentially a Nazi. And anyone who is younger could just be, chance, just bad luck, or they could be evil underground dark elf Nazi. But he doesn't appear to be one of those because he seems to be in charge. He walks over. He's not wearing armor. He's wearing essentially a fantasy tuxedo. He's got short white hair that's kind of spiked up in the front. He's about 5'5". The dark elves tend to be a little bit shorter, and very slight frame. And he walks over. His skin is almost like it's gray, but like a light gray. So it's weird, like almost like no pigment. And his eyes are red. And he comes right over to the four of you and extends a hand and says, "Welcome to the Celestial Garden. My name is Mika Dranor. I'm the head of security. I was told you'd be arriving." Matt, he reaches out a hand to shake your hand.
How you doing? I'm Thulgard. These are my companions. We have Bartos behind me. This is Luca.
You shake his hand?
No.
Okay. He kind of puts it out, but then retracts it pretty fast when he notices you're not moving to do the same.
Yep.
And then just goes on, like ignoring it, essentially.
Yep. And here is Ashwin.
Luca? Shakes his hand. Yeah.
I give him a fist bump.
Nice. All right.
I give him a customary dark elf greeting.
What?
I'm not going to explain what that is. That's just something we do.
He doesn't seem to get it, but he shakes your hand.
I've never seen one other than in the Underdark. So it's odd to me that he doesn't, and I kind of feel at a loss.
Yeah, he doesn't like respond or anything. He
Okay.
just shakes your hand.
It's probably a bit of the hand sign stuff that they do.
He says, I've been made aware of why you're all here. We have a suite prepared, 4 rooms, and we are at your disposal. I'm going to personally attend to anything you might need while you're here. If this criminal is in fact within the Celestial Garden, we will do what we can to help you find him.
We would like your video surveillance as soon as possible.
If you'd like, you can give your belongings to these people. They can bring them to your rooms. Gestures to the 4 soldiers that are behind him.
That's okay. I'll hold on to mine.
I'll be fine.
I hand over my belongings.
Okay. He says, as for weapons, we have a strict policy of no weapons allowed within the Celestial Garden. However, for members of the Tradicium, we will make an exception. I will have to ask you to wear these badges on your weapons or close by, just so that my staff and the patrons understand that you are authorized to have them and aren't concerned by their appearance. He holds out these little metal discs that just have this sort of geometric pattern on them, and you notice that all of the guards are wearing the same thing.
We appreciate your cooperation.
Who has weapons? Like
Bartos does.
Bartos has his axes.
His axes, yeah.
And
Thulgard has his spear.
spear. What about Luca?
I have he has a short sword that would be visible.
Dan does
I have-
Aswin.
Yeah, he's got a light crossbow and a dagger.
Okay, he hands one of these things to each of you.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Thank you.
if you would like to get settled in, you're welcome. If you would like a tour of the facilities, I can do that as well.
I glance around at the rest of you.
Why not both?
Yes, perhaps a tour would be a good idea.
Right to it then. He sends all of the guards off with like your packs and stuff, unless you insist on carrying them around with you. And then he says, well, right this way. Have any of you been here before?
I haven't had the pleasure, no.
Well, let us start with the main attraction, so to speak. The Atrium. He goes down this kind of main hallway where the room splits, and you enter this enormous room. None of you have probably ever been in an indoor structure that is this large before. It's a glass domed room. And you can't see the other end of it just because there's so much going on the floor, the casino floor, essentially. There's tables with people playing different card games and dice games. There's hundreds of people in this room, and then there's staff carrying around drinks, and there's just so much going on and so much noise that it's kind of overwhelming as soon as you come in here. And then the ceiling of the room, it looks almost like you're in a greenhouse, like it's all glass, like dome above you, and it's just sort of slowly shifting colors, like light shining through it. He kind of turns back and looks at all of you, and he says loudly over the sort of sound of all the partying that's going on. He says, it can be a bit overwhelming at first.
That must be a bastard to clean the snow off of.
Well, there's actually another room above it. So it isn't actually sunlight that's filtering through.
Oh.
He looks to you, Dan, and he says, it's an illusion. He makes his way kind of through the room, and you guys pass like a card table with a group of half-orcs playing some sort of card game and drinking heavily. You make your way past a couple other tables where they're playing dice games. It's not kind of what you expected. It's a little more lowbrow. I mean, it's huge, and it's like, extremely like beautiful, and definitely an insane amount of money went into this place. But the patrons, the people you're seeing, for the most part, look like kind of common people. They don't look like a bunch of rich nobles.
Socialites. And,
yeah.
Sure.
And almost in answer to that unspoken question, he says, shall we move through the high roller room? It's a little quieter.
Sure.
And the drinks are better.
Good.
May I ask, Mika, how many security guards do you have down here? I mean, looking around at all of these savory and, well, he'll kind of look back at the half-orc table, unsavory people. I've been to a couple of bars and things can get messy.
We have different types of security, obviously. We have your typical sort of tavern security that would deal with fights and things of that nature. And then, of course, we have security that deals with fraudulent activity, people who specialize in noticing when cheating is occurring. And, of course, we have to closely monitor any possible magic use that might occur here as well. He looks up at the ceiling and he says, we'll get to that.
Good.
Says,
good.
But you'll notice that there are guards all around the room, and there are also guards that you don't notice, people meant to appear as patrons. They're amongst them, listening and watching.
Are they also armed, or are they?
No, he says only the guards that are in uniform are armed. He gestures down at himself and he says, I'm not even armed. He says, but I have full faith in the martial ability of our soldiers here, and I trust that if something were to happen, they would have it well in hand.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you.
He makes his way through the room and through this sort of archway into a smaller room that the ceiling is a little bit lower, but it's also a glass dome. This room immediately feels warmer and almost a little humid. And you notice that it is actually some sort of greenhouse. There's plants all over the room. It feels almost like you're outside, and it's also quiet all of a sudden. Not completely silent, but the loud noise of the previous room is suddenly dulled.
Oh. Is that a real glass dome then?
It is. These are the gardens. There's 12 of them, and they have plant life from across Nestia. They were actually salvaged from Imereti many, many years ago. The gardens there contained, well, plants that in nature no longer exist, but we keep most of them. Some of them, of course, are dangerous, and those aren't exactly available to the public. But this place is a sort of last home for many things.
that is amazing.
Almost
Ashwin tries
altruistic.
to read him when he says that last thing.
Read him? What do you mean?
Well, it sounds like he's saying it's a last home for many things. He's trying to read more into that. Does Ashwin get the sense that maybe he's speaking of himself when he says it, or that there are?
They got bodies up here, yo?
Roll some dice.
Sure.
Roll
The die.
That's a thing, right?
That's a
You
thing.
can roll dice in this
I'm
game.
pretty
Right?
sure.
I got insight. Is that a thing? I've got perception.
Insight.
All right.
As you're walking through these gardens, through these greenhouses, and
That's pretty good. 19.
a 19. You don't think he's talking about himself. You actually think that you don't think that he. The more you kind of get to talk to him and be around him, you realize that he isn't anything like the other dark elves that you met in the Shimmering Web. You don't think he has ever been in that environment.
Right.
So you don't think he's really referring to himself.
Sure. He doesn't feel out of place here.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. Ashwin probably misses more of the rough and tumble down below than the quiet gardens, but
Right. You make your way through these gardens, and some of them are just beautiful, like different sort of climates almost. Like you can tell a lot of work goes into tending them. In fact, you see people working in here, but you make your way essentially down this one path that leads through a bunch of these gardens and, past trees and flowering shrubs and make your way into the high roller room.
Are there any animals in the gardens?
No. The high roller room is a completely different sort of setting. It's more of what you were kind of imagining, Bartos, I think, when you were talking about how you wouldn't be welcome in this kind of place. You do immediately kind of start getting looks from some of the patrons.
He's wearing his nicest coat.
Nice. It's almost all human. You see a couple elves. You actually see you do see a table with 3 halflings. Everyone in here is dressed in clothes that are worth more than any of you have ever had. There's a small stage, and there's actually a band that are playing like string instruments, like a string quartet, essentially. And he just kind of walks past the tables quietly, like he doesn't want to disturb the games that are happening. Once in a while, someone will like shout or cheer, or it's not completely quiet. But he brings you guys through that room and to a bar on the opposite side.
Certainly a beautiful establishment you have.
Would you care for a drink?
Yes.
please.
This young human waitress, she makes you guys all drinks, whatever you're looking for, and he kind of stands there for a minute and watches the band, and just kind of lets you guys soak it in.
Kenku, an elephant, and a tiefling.
It is 3 human women. He says, "Well, this is if I'm being blunt, where most of the money comes from. With your permission, I would like to release the drawing of this. What was his name?
His name is Alistair Fields.
I would like to release that to my soldiers so that they can be on the lookout.
Yes, of course.
I will, of course, inform them not to engage with him. I understand that he could be dangerous, but giving that information immediately does.
He could possibly have some items in his possession that could, let's say, perhaps change his appearance or use, some abilities that would not do well in a casino setting, if you know what I mean. I am curious as to your magical protections here. You said we could speak on that.
Absolutely. I can show you. This is my favorite part. he leaves and kind of brings you guys into like a back hallway, like access hall. It's not as grand or decorated at all. You know, it's a little more narrow. So every once in a while you have to kind of push to the side and let someone go by with a tray of food or whatever. And he brings you upstairs and you go through this door and you're above the dome of that main room. You're on like a catwalk. You see that there's a series of these catwalks above the entire dome. Every step you take in here kind of echoes. I don't know if you've ever been to that. What is that thing in Boston?
The globe, the glass globe of the world, right?
Yeah. But like everything kind of echoes. And as you make your way across these catwalks, you notice that there are people up here. Kind of, they're definitely employees. They're all walking around on very particular routes, looking down through the glass and observing what's going on below. And you can see everything below you as clear as day. And he just kind of is walking along the catwalk with all of you following. And he stops sort of right in the middle. And he says, "These men and women monitor the atrium for the use of magic."
How does it present itself?
He gestures to someone kind of off to the side, and they leave the room, and he says, "I'll show you." You guys just kind of watch what's going on below you for a little while, and then all of a sudden you see someone start to glow, and he points.
He's using magic now?
Yes.
Fascinating. So the glass actually works as some form of lens or to detect magic?
Yes.
Incredible.
Can it be so granular to pick out a weapon or an item?
Perhaps. It's a little harder to spot smaller things from up here. But with a keen eye, I suppose you could. We don't allow magic within the atrium. So if you do spot anything, let us know.
Of course. Do you have any on your staff who can do this without the use of this mirror?
Of course, we do. You'll notice them. Some of our guards walking around. Their uniforms are different.
And what, Ashwin, kind of looking around at the whole kind of expanse of the space, powers this place? Are these enchantments permanent?
Yes. This place was built a long time ago. By magic.
By who?
By one of the bears. One of the 13, I believe.
I think I can guess which one.
It does seem a bit ostentatious.
Yet tasteful.
Oh, yeah. Are you listening out there? That was Jake's character from that 4-year campaign.
The gem works. Unbelievable.
He rolled so high for those.
Where are the hats?
It's almost
though?
like he has a plus 25 gems to think.
Where are the hats?
Oh, there's a
Underdark.
there's a haberdasher.
There's a haberdasher,
of course.
There's certainly a haberdashery.
Of course.
Jake, I'm going to look at the tables and see. I know you said it was difficult to spot smaller items. I'm going to make an attempt to spot any kind of bad coinage.
Yeah. Bad coinage.
Bad coins.
I'm not going to see anything because I rolled a 5, so it's an 8 total.
Okay. You're just too far away to make out the coins. I mean, you're way up above it. So hard to tell.
Can we see... I know you said we saw that the person he sent down to cast magic, but you also... he mentioned that there are people on the floor that could cast detect magic, essentially. Do we see them? Do we see other people lighting up as we're up here?
If you guys hang out up here for a little while, then yeah, you do eventually. So there's a table where people are playing this dice game, and it seems to be getting really rowdy. people are pretty excited. It appears like maybe, someone's on a real hot streak. And you guys are kind of just looking around at all of this just because it's amazing. Excuse me. And then you all start to kind of notice this table just because it's drawing a crowd, and this human is doing really good at the dice. And as you're watching, you notice this person in a sort of blue and black tunic matching the guards, but definitely not armor, comes over and stands behind the person who's like the dealer essentially. And they're wearing a mask, like a metal mask over their face. And they just kind of stand behind the dealer, and then you see them start to glow a little bit.
Mika, could you explain this? And I kind of gesture towards the table.
Of course. Yes. That's one of our observers. They make sure that no magic is being used, things that might not be spotted from up here. They also make sure more mundane methods of cheating aren't being used. They have items at their disposal that assist them in doing this, and as well as extensive training. It appears that this is all above board, just somebody's lucky day.
And with all this security, seems hardly worth us coming all the way down.
Well, we have no rules against people making trades in their own rooms or doing whatever it is this person is doing. I believe you said this Alistair is fencing stolen goods.
Yes.
Seems a good place to meet, although it would be unlikely that he would bring these goods into the Atrium or any other place where we monitor closely. It's possible he has a room here, though. We have over 100 rooms. I can check our records against the name, although I doubt that will be very useful.
Agreed.
Nevertheless, I will.
Where would one, if they were to have goods, is there a stable nearby or someplace you think they would keep that sort of thing in Zadino?
Oh, he shrugs. He says, I suppose that there's any manner of place. To be honest, I don't get out of here very often. There's everything you could possibly need.
Do you have a safe on site? Perhaps somewhere to keep some items from your high rollers safe so that they also wouldn't be taking advantage of their position or your establishment?
We do, yes. We offer security for any patron who's willing to pay for it. Some of the rooms even have their own secure areas, safes that our patrons can use, but we also have a vault that we can put things in. And then, of course, the main vault, which is not accessible by anyone.
Then how does anybody get in?
Well, no one does get in. You see, one way to keep all this money safe is to make sure that no one has the opportunity to steal it. And that includes potentially our employees. And so the vault is, well, the custodians of the vault are not living. We call them the accountants.
Not living.
They are undead, yes?
They are.
You have creatures of the necromancer guarding your gold.
I assure you they're not of the necromancer. And they are all consenting bodies.
Wait, what?
It sounds like an interesting arrangement.
It sounds perverse.
It sounds like it's out of our purview, Bartos. We're here for a specific reason.
He's right. Anything done with consent is okay.
I understand it can be a bit off-putting, but you understand that the only way to truly remove the temptation of greed is, well, to ensure that those caring for it want for nothing.
How are you so sure the necromancer can't get his touch to them?
I don't pretend to try to understand the necromancer or what he wants, but I don't think he's looking for gold.
This system of yours, have you had it in place since the beginning?
No.
When did it come about?
80 years ago, I believe.
It's an interesting one. Much like bodyguards that serve women as eunuchs, yes?
He smirks, but you can tell it disappears pretty quickly.
Is that a shimmering web thing, or?
It is a thing.
Shimmering web, is that where you're from?
It is. He kind of half glances back at the gnome, but keeps his attention on him. I'm a recent employee of the Tradicium.
Interesting.
Who created your constructs?
I'm not sure. I'm the head of security, but I'm not in charge of such things.
They are not around anymore.
Oh, I believe they're around. But no one enters the vault. No one can enter the vault. There's no way in.
How does the money get out, though? I suppose the house always wins, huh?
We have ways of having the money go in and out of the vaults, but the caretakers, the accountants, they're in there permanently. It is a tomb, so to speak.
I am sorry if our curiosity is pressing, but it is, you have to admit, an unusual feature.
I understand it's unorthodox, and it's not the sort of thing that we generally share with the public, although I assure you it is all legal. It's all above board with the Nestia.
This is a great allegory for capitalism.
One character point for John.
It is true. I saw a great many contracts drafted. What is legal can be as varied as you can imagine.
And I mean, if it is in any way relevant to your investigation, we can talk more on it, although I highly doubt it.
True,
Well, back to the pressing matters at hand. You said magic is illegal here. Are we permitted, if necessary?
He kind of thinks about it. He says, yes, I suppose so.
Good. We don't want to keep you off guard.
It would help with our investigation as well.
Of course. I assume you'll just refrain from using any sort of magic if you decide to play at any of our tables.
Of course.
Not interested in any of that. Thank you, though.
Well, if you do, or if you've even, if the need arises that you pretend to be playing, I'll just ask that you step away before using your cell phone.
Very well.
One more question, Mika, real quick. You said some of the rooms have their own sort of safes in them.
Yes.
How many of those rooms? It would just help us narrow down possibly where Alistair could be staying if he does have some sensitive items.
Well, all of the suites, which would be 36 rooms. That includes the 4 that you're staying in.
Excellent.
Well, Mika, thank you. Thank you for all of your help, and I am sure that during our time here we will call on you again.
Absolutely. I'm going to have a page outside of your suite. If there's anything you need, any requests, any sort of information, ask him. He will bring it directly to me.
Good.
If you need to meet with me, I'm at your disposal. I live here as well, so I'll always be available.
Excellent.
So, how many restaurants are here, and could we get like a meal ticket to maybe one of the buffets or something like that?
Gift store.
I think it's all buffet.
Do you actually have
No.
What's our per diem from the Tradicium? Well, I suppose we should get settled then. Discuss strategy.
Ashwin nods to our rooms then.
he shows you guys out back down to the atrium floor, and then he says, "I'll be leaving you here then. If you head to the south exit to this room, you'll be able to find your rooms from there."
Thank you, Mika.
Guys, go to your rooms.
You said the place is very busy, right, Jake?
It is, yeah.
Okay. And it's kind of all manner of patrons, yeah?
Yep.
All
yeah,
right.
this particular area is the atrium is the sort of main room, and it is, everyone. Yeah, rich, poor, whatever. And then the other area that you went to is sort of like ultra rich, like noble.
Sure.
Yeah.
If and when I see the page, I'm going to ask if they have a map available
Okay.
of the
Yeah,
structure.
Yeah. He gets you that like within a few minutes.
Sure. Okay. Does it say you are here on it?
Moves around. So you guys have 4 kind of adjoining rooms with a common room in the middle that they all share.
Nice.
Each of your rooms does in fact have a small safe with like it's like a keyed lock. So the key is in it when you get to the room, and they're super nice. I mean, this is the fancy rooms that you all have. So you bring your things in. Anyone who gave their bags to the guards, your stuff is already waiting here. But you kind of get settled in and then meet up in that middle room.
Traditium spared no expense.
Or perhaps the Celestial Gardens are being kind, would like to see us be happy and be gone.
Perhaps they did tell us a lot about their security, which is nice. So they do seem to trust us.
At least he does.
It's a fascinating operation, to be sure. I believe next, though, we will have to spend some time here observing the clientele. It will play into our reasons.
Well, one thing's for sure. They know that this gold is here. And if they know that gold going into their coffers is going to turn to ash,
They must have a way to combat it.
Perhaps it's the other way around. Perhaps the gold that goes in is the real gold, and whatever comes out, however they get it out, could be the fake.
That would suggest agency with these golems or undead that live below in the safe. Do you think this necromancer in the north, you think he would do such a thing?
his tendrils reach across all of Regnum. He's a really cool guy.
For everyone listening, that was John's character.
But I do love that every character you play now absolutely hates him.
Yep.
He's not that bad if you get to know him. He really is a bit of a tragic figure.
I mean, yeah,
He
Very
just wanted to save his
misunderstood.
daughter.
His agents are plotting everywhere. What better place than here where all this coin flows in and out?
But what would the Celestial Garden gain from an imbalance in the economy here in Nestia?
Favor. When Nestia falls into chaos because their gold is crumbling, the necromancer takes and divvies out Nestia to those who were loyal.
I look at the other 2 members of the party here and I say, do you think the necromancer is behind this?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, no offense, Bartos, but his people do tend to have a dislike of him.
it does seem like it could be much more simple than that. I mean, real gold goes in, fake gold goes out. Fake gold turns to ash. All of a sudden, there's a lot of gold here in the Celestial Gardens.
But when the economy, when Nestia crumbles around them, where will they spend it?
Well, they can
Be the new
bankroll the
Destia.
nation at that point. Yes.
You don't think they're making enough real gold with their operation here?
I mean,
They need to boost it like that?
I don't think we really know who runs this place. I mean, Mika's head of security, but who's, there's somebody up at the top.
Agreed.
Who?
Probably more than one.
Exactly. Maybe a group and destabilizing the Neshtian nobility through a lack of funds, and then having all of the funds themselves can insert themselves as the new rulers. That is how money works most of the time.
Or at the very least, a powerful silent partner.
Maybe. Could be Aura.
But
Well,
I do say
enemies on all fronts.
Are you blaming the brown guys now?
No, wow.
I think it would be suspicious too if all of the gold that came out of this place crumbled within months. Then anybody who wins it'd be pretty obvious what happened.
This place, it launders money, yes? So that is what it is. It is perhaps one of the largest of its kind in this kingdom even. And so that is the opportunity this place presents. I do not see the will of this place as one that would try to perform such an act.
I think what we need to do is determine if the money or if these coins are flowing in or they are flowing out. If the gold that these patrons have is tainted, or if the gold they are paid when they win is tainted.
Well, if it is somebody who's laundering, that would be out of the garden. You need to be looking at high volume going out, and whatever returns they get would just be a bonus if you break even, but you're not using real money. You're coming out way ahead.
Perhaps. I want to see the list of the nobles and the high stakes. See who's really moving money here, and who's involved in it.
I mean, if you're dealing in clay, but getting gold back, you could be losing and winning at the same time.
Exactly.
And with that, you all kind of look around this gorgeously decorated hotel that you're in, and you think about just the amount of money that comes and goes from this place in a single day. It's more than some kingdoms have. And you think about what could happen if the wrong people got their hands on it. And we will end there.
Who's the right people?
Make it rain. Right? The 1%.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed another installment of our Choose Your Own Adventure series. Our intro music is by Wilhelm Screen. Our outro music is by Antti Martikainen. Scores are by Antti Martikainen and Adrian von Ziegler. Find links to check out all of them, as well as links to all of our social media, bonus episodes, and a lot more stuff at our website, nastygramrpg.com. See you next Tuesday.
That's nasty.